Oh my goodness. Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy Lincoln Clay coming back at you. Let's all be one cohesive unit and hit the like button and help spread the content to a wider audience. And make sure you hit the bell icon and so you can stay notified whenever I put out new content. And if you are a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. I hope you are enjoying the content. So I know right now that Sick Humor is getting ready to start a podcast. Zaire and I think J Dubs and a couple other people are on the podcast right now. I think Titanfall Princess is supposed to do a podcast tonight. I see that One Stop, did a podcast that I got to go back and check out. So there's a lot of shit going on right now. And I know my little baby ass channel was getting swallowed up right in the middle of that shit. But this, I had kind of was debating about having a podcast today, but after this latest shit, about the possible PS5, has that closed event, Decon happened at DEF CON. I have no idea, to tell you the truth. I'm not even really aware of that, Caleb. I got so much shit that I want to talk about. Ice Queen Gaming, how you doing? Mr. Pyle, what's up? You pumping some iron? Cool. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. Meantime, I did a little bit of Creed, and I did about 3 fights against the computer because the player versus player is still fucking up, and I even emailed Servios last night to let them know that they fucked the shit up even worse, with that update that I haven't been able to get into a single fight since that update came out. So yeah, I emailed Servios last night. I haven't checked my mail. I don't expect to get an answer back from them, but as long as they read it and they know what's going on, that's fine with me. Checking my shit right now, checking my emails right now. Let's see here. They did respond. Says, thank you for contacting Servios. Sorry to hear you're experiencing this issue with finding Creed player versus player matches since the latest patch. I'll check in with our platform team tomorrow morning when they're back in the office to see if they notice anything on the back end. Just to gather information, what is the version number displayed under the information tab of Creed? It should be located by clicking the, oh shit. Also, I'll pass along your feedback to the dev team on the PvP online records. As for hearing the opponents, it is only when you're streaming on YouTube that you can't hear. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to reply to them. Shit, yeah, they. Andre Nat, thanks for subbing. Don't call me Danny. What is up? Spartan God, what is up? You know what? Fake specs. I'm gonna get to that. But wow, that's pretty cool to hear from Servio so fine, so quickly, and they even asked me a couple of questions about what number the update was, about a couple of things that I was suggesting about the online PvP online records, and as well as whenever I'm streaming, the viewers can't hear my opponents. So, that's pretty cool that they responded about that. So after I get done with this podcast, I will have to respond to them and let them know what I'm experiencing. And yeah, that is cool. That is cool. But I will say this though. I have heard that, as far as the VR developers goes, since that genre is not near as big as, regular, flat screen games, they listen to feedback more than say somebody like Activision or something. They definitely why am I not on the PlayStation Plus podcast? Sick went live just as I was firing this shit up, and then when I saw that, I said, God damn, believe me, no way on this earth that I want to bump heads with Sick. But what I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to hurry up, and get this over with. So the plan is to try to say what I got to say, in as few as words possible, and then go join sick if he's if he's still streaming. So most of the shit about these PS5 specs and release dates. I think we'll get to that last. We'll save that. We'll save that for last because I'm still trying to figure out how am I going to approach that because there's so much shit I want to say. I don't even know if I can remember it all, but we'll start with PUBG. It is free on Xbox for a limited time, and I believe it starts today. I got an alert this morning, a Google alert saying that the PUBG was free on the Xbox. So when I clicked on it, there was an article from a site called The Verge that's saying that PUBG along with Pro Evolution Soccer are free on the Xbox for a limited time. You know what, Skip Bayless? I took Crap Gamer out of my suggested videos. I'm just not interested in hearing what that dude got to say. Neither him, neither Code Eastwood. But he knows better. Whether he really said that or not, he knows what's going to happen in the next generation. So, that's just propaganda and, toxic lies on his part. So, but yeah, as I was saying, PUBG and Pro Evolution Soccer are free for a limited time on the Xbox. I will say that's, boy, I'm telling you, I think Sony and Microsoft are definitely playing chess right now. In the case of Microsoft, with PUBG being free, I think it's a smart move, but at the same time, I think it's a slap in the face. Dawn? Oh, Lincoln just called me Dawn. I never knew what your name was, Ice Queen Gaming. So I don't know if you're saying, I don't know if that means you're giving me the okay to call you Dawn. So, but I am doing fine, Ice Queen. So, yeah, that he's something else. That Crap Gamer is something else. So, anyway, I think, like I said about the PUBG thing, it was a smart move, but at the same time, it was a slap in the face. It was a smart move in the sense that everybody who's hasn't been living under a rock knows that PUBG is going to be free on the PlayStation not free, but it's coming to the PlayStation next month. And so I know that move by Microsoft making PUBG free, I know that is a move designed to steal away some, some possible PlayStation people who might want to get that game on their PlayStation. And I know this is a move to try to stifle sales of PUBG on the PlayStation, which, okay, Dawn, I'll call you Dawn. And I know that this is a move on Microsoft's part to try to stifle sales of PUBG, which I don't think the shit's going to sell very well anyway, because for one thing, here it is a whole year later, the game is damn near dead. The blackout is what's, pretty much running the landscape of Battle Royale. And so, so I don't think the game was going to sell very well on the PlayStation anyway. But I think one of the reasons why Microsoft made that game free is because, what's up, Lunkin? I think one of the reasons Microsoft made this game free is to stifle sales of, of the PlayStation. And by offering the game for free and drawing people over to the Xbox, that still gives them bragging rights to say that the game sold better on Xbox. Because even though PUBG isn't a popular game anymore, I still suspected that the game would probably sell 1, maybe 2 million on the PlayStation. And it's still with over 80 million PlayStations sold, there's still the potential there that it could very well outsell the Xbox. And I think by Microsoft offering the game for free, that is a move to make sure it doesn't happen, because Microsoft likes to brag about little petty shit, and they're willing to throw money at the situation in order to have bragging rights. So it's obvious that Microsoft threw money at the PUBG people to make the shit free on Xbox. And I had no intentions of buying this game, even if it's coming to PlayStation. But with the game being free, it could not hurt to take a look at it, even though the game looked like dog shit and the game ran like dog shit. I don't think I'll play it. If I do, I would be surprised if I was on it more than 5 minutes. Just not interested in it. But free, that's a price you can't beat, even coming from a fucked up company like Microsoft. So I will at least take a look at it. The Pro Evolution Soccer, hell, I might take a look at that too. Why not? It's free. You know, I've heard people say that Pro Evolution Soccer is just as good as FIFA, just not near as popular. So again, you know, I think that's a smart move on Microsoft's part in terms of trying to stifle sales over on the PS5. But myself, I feel like just let the shit go. You know, I mean, does having bragging rights to say that the game sold best on the Xbox, that you're gonna throw a bunch of money at the PUBG people to make that happen? I mean, does those bragging rights mean that much to you? I don't think the game would have sold very well. And as far as PlayStation people jumping up bragging about the game selling better on the PlayStation, I don't think it would have been that many people talking about it because they moved on to some other shit. You know, they're not thinking about PUBG. So, but I also think it's a slap in the face to those people that spent that $30 and went through that bullshit of having to deal with frame drops and every other bug that was in the game. But but I guess if you want the game that badly, you're going to be the first people to pay for it, just like this PS5. I'm going to pay for it day one. As soon as pre-orders are available, I will be pre-ordering my PlayStation in mere seconds. And the way I'm sitting right now, I'll probably pay it off in full the minute I pre-order it. So, but there you have it. PUBG's free. Microsoft, I'm sure Microsoft knows that a lot of those PlayStation owners out there also own Xboxes too, like me. So if I was interested in buying PUBG on the PlayStation, Microsoft, made it a no-brainer by offering the shit for free that I'm going to grab it on the Xbox. Because, for one thing, the graphics is so fucked up from what I understand, it doesn't matter what you're playing it on. It still look like shit. So I own the vanilla Xbox One, which I guess it runs the worst on that console. So, but like I said, you can't beat the price. So I'm going to check it out. So that's that. Now let's move on to Red Dead. That's open and shut. The game just doesn't do anything for me. I've said it before. I've seen parts of the game where the acting seems kind of cheap. I've seen parts of the game where it looks absolutely stunning, to use the words of Craig Harris. But I've also seen parts of the game where it looks like they took shortcuts. And then the thing that pretty much made it a done deal. Well, before I get to the done deal part, the story, God of War better be game of the year. I think it will be. I think now, I think Red Dead Redemption is surrounded in too much controversy right now, because the only people that's really praising Red Dead Redemption, for God of the game of the year, are the Xbox people. Everybody else is a mixed bag of opinions. So there was no There was no controversy surrounding God of War. When it came out, it was an instant hit. I mean, everybody was talking about that game for a couple of weeks. Same thing with Spider-Man. You say you got tired of the game after 5 days. I assume you're talking about Red Dead, Lunkin. The story of Red Dead, it didn't do anything for me. It just couldn't draw me in. I probably say, the story of God of War, Spider-Man, Detroit Become Human, all three of those stories drew me in. But, Detroit Become Human was the only one that I finished because, truth be told, that was my most anticipated game of the year. I anticipated that. I was more excited about that game than God of War and Spider-Man. So I knew I was going to finish. I knew I was going to finish that. Ashley, how you doing? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah, it's free on Xbox, Robert McLeod. PUBG is. Just a minute. Let me see. Let me go to this podcast right now. Look at it from my phone and then post the link. But yeah, it's supposed to be, I believe, starting today, PUBG is supposed to be free. But it's only for a limited time. So, even though I don't like Microsoft, I would still, advise, how free is a hard price to beat. So let me see what I got here. It's supposed to be in my damn favorites. Um da, 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 da. Here's a headline right here. Sony's new PS4 Pro quietly fixes its noise problems. Wait a minute, folks. Yep, here it is. It's not the article that I found, but it says as PUBG for PS4 looms, Xbox unofficially responds, have the game for free. And I guess that was supposed to be one of their big announcements for that XO shit coming this weekend. I guess PUBG being free was supposed to be one of the big announcements. So, but let me see if I can copy this. Copy. Then let me come to this podcast. And then I'll put the link in the chat. And then I'll put the link. There you go, folks. That's the link right there. So I got the receipts, so nobody can say that I'm lying. There's the receipts for you. You can click on that article, and it says right there in the headline that PUBG is free. And so let me go ahead and close the book on this Red Dead thing, so I can get to the super juicy shit with the PS5. By the way, would not matter how free it is. Microsoft will not let me play unless I pay for online. Yeah, with the Xbox Live. Yeah, Microsoft ain't never gonna give that shit up. They, with Xbox Live is, basically Xbox Live is their cash cow as far as the gaming division goes. So no matter which route you take, the streaming box or, the traditional box, whichever they plan to, whatever they coming out with next generation, you ain't going to be able to do it without Xbox Live. It is what it is. So Robert McLeod, I'm stuck in I'm stuck in a peculiar position because one way or the other, I'm still going to have to pay for Xbox Live because I share my Xbox Live membership with my son, and even if I wasn't sharing for it, even if I was not sharing it with him, I would still be paying for it because I would still be maintaining his relationship, his subscription, so he could play Gears of War online. So unfortunately, I'm still going to be paying that subscription for a few more years. And so now, the nail in the coffin for Red Dead as to why I decided I'm not getting this shit, um, was the shit that I was hearing about. Well, I seen some of it myself. Sea of Thieves was supposed to be free, but I ain't playing no free, paying to play free games. Yeah, exactly. Um, Now, when I was playing Red Dead, and I was getting into them shootouts and shit like that, and I was going to loot the bodies after they was already dead, I'm only, I'm finding 22 cents, 35 cents, and shit like that on these dudes. And then one of his podcasts, Ryan was saying that he was playing when he was robbing people and shit, he was only getting $2, $3 and shit like that. So you going through all this fucking hassle, just like on Grand Theft Auto. You're going through all this hassle and you getting crumbs. And then on top of that, I hear it doesn't take much to get a bounty put out on you. So basically, Rockstar is setting everybody up. They get ready to do the same shit to y'all on Red Dead that they did, with Grand Theft Auto. Is they getting ready to implement some kind of Western shark card. I don't know what they're gonna call it, the Colt 45 card, the Western Saloon card. I don't know what they're gonna call it, but it's definitely gonna be some kind of shark card. Because I'm sure the way this game is gonna be laid out, you probably gonna need, you probably gonna need better guns, you probably gonna need better horses, probably saddles. Now, Pally, what's up? How you doing? With Red Dead, like I said, you could, in order to have the best experience, you probably gonna need the best horses, the best weapons, the best saddles. My horse's balls shrink in the cold weather, Uncle Bumpy. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna put some kind of shark card in. They setting everybody up for it right now. If I get into a damn shootout and I'm looting the bodies and I'm only getting 22, 35 cents and shit like that, what kind of horse you think you're gonna buy with that kind of money on the game? No, they setting you up for the shark card. Alabama Jones. Thing about GTA Online is you didn't need the shark card. You didn't need the shark card, but the groundwork was there to make you buy it, to entice you to buy the shark card. Because same thing with Grand Theft Auto, because I played enough of that game. You see a fucking car or a yacht or a helicopter or a tank or whatever it is you want, and that shit costs $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and you robbing people on the street and you only getting $35 off of them. And then the thing about it is you rob people on the street, after you rob a couple of people, you got the cops after you. And if the cops, the cops will kill you. And then when you respawn, the game takes $200 away from you as a hospital bill. So you just went and robbed somebody for $35. You got killed. You come back to life. And now you out $165. So the robbery wasn't worth it. I mean, it's a game and it's supposed to be fun, but in terms of trying to get money together so you can buy a tank or a car or a yacht, how long do you think it's going to take to get to $2 million when you're robbing people for $35? Even that heist shit comes with a price. With the heist shit, now the heist is cool. I like how, everybody's got to do their part. I do like that. But the thing about that heist shit is somebody must sponsor this heist. Everything that's needed for the heist, cargo vans and all that kind of shit. Somebody has to put the money up for that shit. And the person who sponsors the heist is the one that gets the biggest cut. And so I joined my friends on a heist on Grand Theft, and I can't remember how much I can't remember how much the job paid, but I know that my cut was going to be 40,000. I didn't put anything into it, but my cut was going to be 40,000. Now, here's where the problem was. It was like when you pull the heist off, if anybody fucks up, screws up, and doesn't do exactly what they're supposed to do, or they end up getting killed, the heist is over. You have to start the whole thing over. So we spent 3 days on one fucking heist for me to get $40. I mean, $40,000. And you trying to buy a car that costs $2 million? You know what, Robert McLeod, the fact of the matter is those shark cars are expensive for starters. I think the cheapest shark card is $5, but that don't get you shit, I think you only get like 250,000. I can't remember what the number was. See, but here's another area where Grand Theft Auto was fucking you over. A $2 million shark card, was costing like $20, but the particular car that you're looking for cost $2.3 million. So even with that $20 shark card for $2 million, you still 300,000 short. And it would still take you forever getting that other 300,000, robbing people on the street for $35. So now they fucked you, and now you gotta drop it at the minimum another $5 in order to get like a $300,000 shark card or some shit like that. Because I was dropping dough like that because my son was always wanting these exotic cars on the game, so I'm always dropping $20 for him to get shark cards. And then the other thing was, he was running out of money quick because he was always going to the ammo store, buying ammo, running all over the place, shooting everything up, always getting killed by the cops, always getting hit with that $200 hospital bill every time he respawns. And so it was like, he tells me he wants a car. I give him $20 for the shark card. By the time he gets done shooting up everything, buying ammo, getting killed and respawning and shit like that, half that money's gone. So now he coming back asking me for another $20 so he can, get back up to 2 million so he can get that car. So now I dropped $40. Robert McLeod, you said no matter what game I play, I like to earn what I get. So I don't have a problem. See, I see, the thing about it is I don't have a problem with the shark card because I've come to realize that they're gonna try to throw in some microtransactions. I would be okay with it if they would allow you to get a generous amount of money for the shit that you do on the game. You don't get shit on that game. Christopher Hart, you say, hey, Xbox gamers are starting to admit Red Dead 2 has messed up controls and glitches, but some are still saying it's amazing, but maybe not game of the year. The honeymoon is over. The game is surrounded in too much controversy. I don't get how it could be game of the year. Now, getting back to this shark card shit, I know the average person, you rob them on the street, ain't gonna have $10,000 on them or something. But maybe you could rob them and they got $50 on them, $100 on them. Maybe you could rob them and they got $100 watch on them that you could, go sell to a pawn shop or something on the game. Yeah, I think God of War is gonna be game of the year. Robert McLeod. Now take GT Sport, for instance. They put those microtransactions in the game, and those cars in there cost anywhere from 99 cents to $3. I can live with that. And the biggest reason why I can live with that is they give you enough money on that game that you don't have to buy those cars. Now, if I play if I play GT Sport every day, if there's a car I want that costs about $1 million, it would probably take me about maybe a week of grinding to get together about $1 million. So any car that I want on that game is within reach with in-game currency. Because the game does pay you generously. You don't have to buy those cars. They pay you well enough that if you're patient enough, that if you're willing to grind for about a week, you can buy just about any car you want on that game with in-game currency. I mean, I bought a car on, with in-game currency, and it damn near drained me. But just like that, I'm already back up to like think what? Maybe 600,000. Either way, but whatever car I want is within reach on that game. You ain't got to spend, it's not some bullshit where they paying you $35 for each race you finish, and it take you 6 months of grinding to come up with a $1 million. The game pays you handsomely. So any game is within reach. You mean any car is within reach. So in the microtransactions isn't ridiculous. The most expensive microtransaction on GT Sport is $3 for a car. But on Grand Theft Auto, the microtransactions start at $5. And those shark cards can be as much as $100. That's crazy. Now, Polly, what is the price of the Xbox? I really don't know. To tell you the truth, I'm still speculating. I'm guessing that the Xbox One X cost either $250 or $300. Now, this wasn't part of the podcast, but Black Friday coming up. I think Target is going to have the PS4 Slim for $199 with, and that includes the Spider-Man game. And whereas the Xbox One S is going to be $189, but it doesn't come with any games. So you do the math, for $10 more, you can get the more powerful PS4 where games look and run better than the Xbox One S as far as I'm concerned, and it comes with a game. So I think that's a no-brainer right there. But there's your just a couple of Black Friday things to throw at you. So now that juicy part. Now, let's take this all with a grain of salt. So Mads Gaming came out with a podcast today and said you don't want to miss it. It said something about PS5 specs, and I didn't think nothing of it because it's like every day his videos and podcasts every day is like AMU, AMD, Navi, and all that. I don't know about all that shit. It's like every single day talking about processors and shit. I don't know about that shit, and I'm not going to go listen to somebody talk about that shit every single day about something that I really don't know that much about. But the day when he said, but the day when his shit said PS5 specs, again, I didn't think anything of it. And so I'm on my way home. I get an alert. Zaire is live. He's got J-Dub on there with him. And same thing, rumored PS5 specs. So when they were talking, I guess supposedly some shit leaked out. Now take this with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's not true. There's reasons why I don't believe it, and there's reasons why I do believe it. But I guess the PS5 is rumored to possibly have 11.2 teraflops of power. It is also rumored to have 16 gigs of what is it? GD DDR6 16 gigs. Your doctor says you're not allowed salt. Okay. So, cool. So I guess the PS5 is supposed to have a rumored 16 gigs of RAM, whereas the Xbox One X has 12. The 16 gigs of RAM does not surprise me, because I figured the PS5 at the very least was going to have 12. And I know that, it's crazy. You said that's impressive. Yeah, that's like, why I go. I see, the thing about it is when Foxy UK, when he first was talking about his sources and he was giving specs, he said that at that time he was the first one to say something about the specs. He said that, the rumors that was, coming from his source was that the PS5 was going to have anywhere from like 10 to like 16 teraflops of power. Xbox DOA due to PS5, of course. And these specs set off a whole bunch of shit. And this is the part where I'm not going to be able to shut my trap, so quickly. Because if these specs are true, boy, oh boy, oh boy, what that means for the next generation. Saris is great. What's up, Lincoln? If you're referring to that link Mads and Foxy talked about, it's pure fake news. It's like I said, Saris, it could be true. It could not be true. But I have said before, now we know that Sony is working on the next generation VR. I've said this a long time ago that, coming from PSVR Frank, that a Japanese company was working on a VR lens that's better than anything out there today. And I've tried Vive before, and it's pretty clear. It is noticeably cleaner than the PSVR. That alone is going to make it, pretty impressive. And then you have on the internet, you never know what is real and what is fake. Yeah, I get you, Robert McLeod. But here's what I'm saying: that even if this shit is fake, I still speculated that I'm going with what Mark Cerny said. That, that in order to achieve, 4K, you're going to need, 8 teraflops of power, whatever the case may be. I agree with that, but for a different reason, for the VR. Now, remember, Craig Harris was talking about his source, told him that they already have games running on the next PlayStation VR at 240 frames per second. I wasn't sure how much I believe the 240 frames per second, but I do know, because I've heard it. I've read articles from developers that Sony is tough about the motion sickness. When somebody develops something on the PSVR, they want that motion sickness to be eliminated or minimized. And I heard frame rate is, key to minimizing motion sickness. So you got a PSVR headset running at 240 frames per second. I would imagine it would take a good amount of power to run something like that. But wait, there's more. We've seen it. We've seen that patent that Sony filed for the local VR multiplayer, meaning they filed a patent, and you can see by the diagram, it is allowing you to connect two PSVR headsets wirelessly to the same PlayStation. Now you got two headsets connected to the same PlayStation running at 240 frames per second. It has got to take a substantial amount of power to be able to run something like that. And because of that, that is the part, Saris is great, that makes me somewhat believe that the PS5 could be 11 teraflops of power. I would like to think minimum is going to have 8. I was hoping for 10 because I want the developers, on the PSVR 2 when it comes out. I don't want the developers to be limited by the hardware. I want them to have enough power to do what they want and then some. So I don't know shit about computers and stuff like that, but just to throw a number out there, and Mark Cerny says you need 8 to hit 4K. I was hoping we would get at least 10. Christopher Hurt, you said they probably also have sharper graphics and an auto eye-to-eye correct and auto camera to headset adjust to reduce motion sickness both ways. Not to mention that on top of that, Christopher Hurt, not to mention the patent that they filed on the headset that showed that it could be wireless. It's got a ton of sensors on it that detects motion sickness and all kinds of other shit. Not only that, Sony licensed the design of this PSVR headset to Lenovo, meaning they basically lent the design, they loaned it to them to allow them to develop their own standalone headset, VR headset. And now rumors is coming around that when the PSVR 2 hits, that could be the industry standard, that other VR makers, headset makers could follow their pattern. Well, Sony's got big plans for PlayStation VR next generation. And I don't think, I think it would limit their vision if this PSVR is on a weak console. I think if the PS5, in my opinion, if the PS5 is going to be 6 teraflops, to me, there's no point in even making it. Because the PS4 Pro, the exclusives on the PS4 Pro already look better than anything over on the Xbox One X anyway. So if they're going to make a console that only has 6 or 7 teraflops, in my opinion, there's no sense in even making it. But if they do make it with 6 or 7 teraflops, and it's just barely higher than the Xbox One X, I would like to think that they're going to price the console at $400. Christopher Hart, you said you let your nephew use your VR headset once, and after she played, I didn't adjust the eye-to-eye distance back to my face and had to take the headset off right away. Okay. Entertainment Wizard, PS5 launches with Ready Player One VR game. I hate it. But hey, you know what? I was wondering this, but I did wonder if the PlayStation VR, PSVR 2 launches day and date with the PS5. I did wonder if this game that Guerrilla Games is working on, where they grab some of the Rainbow Six Siege developers, I'm beginning to wonder if they're working on a Killzone for the next generation. And I'm also wondering if this game is going to have a VR option to it, which would be phenomenal, to be able to play Killzone in VR. Now, Sarah says, great. You said you'll wait for the February 20th reveal for more credible specs. But Richard L from Digital Foundry says he knows a lot more about the specs, both PS5 and Xbox, than he's allowed to speak openly about. I believe that. Even Craig Harris says he has information that he has to sit on. He can't talk about it right now. Even Foxy Games said it, that he's got information that he can't speak of right now. Because if he goes off and speak on something and he fucks around and gets somebody in trouble, they could lose the job. So Cyberpunk 2077 needs a VR mode. Entertainment Wizard, if it turns out to be true, the 16 gigs of RAM and this 11.2 teraflops of power, if that turns out to be true, the only thing that could stop, Cyberpunk from having a VR mode is whether they think there's a market for it or not. And remember, the Sony said that they plan on they're doubling down on VR. And they're going to, bring you bigger and better experiences. That means you got to have more powerful hardware. The PSVR right now is wonderful, but it is severely limited. There's only so much you can do because of the hardware, especially because of the vanilla PS4. I'm under the impression that the vanilla PS4 kind of holds the VR back a little bit. I guess it runs better. It looks a little bit better on the Pro, but I'm still led to believe that because the game has to run on both consoles, that I'm led to believe that the vanilla PS4 holds the Pro back a little bit. He said the VR market is getting bigger. That is because of Sony, Christopher Hart. Sony has made it affordable. If Sony had not got into the VR genre, it'd be dead. VR would be dead right now. J-Dog, I'm in no big rush, but I'm hyped for PS5 and PSVR 2. Both will be day one for sure. Exactly. Now, this is also what I'm hoping for, J-Dog and everybody else. You pre-ordered Borderlands? I don't know if I'll get it. Yeah, Mr. Pio, Sony say VR. Facts. I said it before. If Sony had not got involved in VR, it would be dead right now because it is a very expensive hobby. My friend that I used to work with, that I went over his house and tried his Vive, the computer he built to power that headset, he dropped $1,000 on that computer, and then he dropped $700 on the headset. Now you have the PlayStation VR coming up on Black Friday. Both versions of the PlayStation VR will be $100 off at Target. You have the Astrobot, I think the Astrobot Super Hot bundle, which comes with those two games, the camera and the headset. That's going to be $200 on Black Friday. Skip Bayless, November 2019. I'm still sticking with it. PS5, November 2019. I've been saying it all year, and I'm sticking with it. And then the other PlayStation VR bundle that comes with the headset, the Move controllers, the camera, and it comes with a copy of Creed. And it comes with Creed and Super Hot. The other bundle comes with Astrobot and Moss. That bundle is going to be $250. You already have a PlayStation, so it's basically plug and play. If you get that $200 bundle, that VR bundle, and you get that PlayStation Slim bundle, the Spider-Man bundle, for $200 each, for $400, you just got yourself a console, you just got yourself a VR, And you got yourself 3 games to go with it. Spider-Man, Astrobot, and Moss for $400. That's cheaper than a headset alone. That's cheaper than a HTC Vive headset alone. Where you get the VR headset and the source to power it. So $400 for a console and a PlayStation VR sounds a whole hell of a lot better than $1,700 to build a PC and to get the Vive headset. So yes, Sony saved VR. VR would be dead if it was not for Sony. You know, and yeah, that PlayStation headset was $500 when it first came out, but I knew that as the price goes down, more and more people are going to adopt it. And I think this Black Friday, you know, with that $200 bundle, I think this Black Friday is going to be huge. Because I know some people are going to get that for Christmas. So I'm hoping enough. I'm hoping that that's wait a minute. Hold on. Got a Foxy UK. Hold on a second. Are these leaks PS5 specs real or unreal? Final retail units revealed early 2019. Okay, so you said Sony saved VR, how Ray Allen saved LeBron? Yeah, yes, Skip Bayless, yeah. Because Ray Allen showing up, bailed their ass out when he was with the Heat. I don't know about the Trevor Saves the Universe. I'm not familiar with it, Rozzy. Now, about these release dates of the rumored PS5. Now, when Zaire J-Dub was talking, I guess, you know, there's going to be a reveal in February of 2019. So I guess they already got some dates targeted, like something like November 16th for the US and Japan. And then I think like a week later for Europe. And then like December 16th or something like that for the rest of the world. I definitely believe those release dates. And I've been saying this for a while. And I don't get how people did not see this. People have been calling me crazy for God knows how long for saying that the PS5 is going to come out in November 2019. Here's why I believe. There's a number of reasons why I believe it's going to come out in 2019. One, too much fucking information has been coming out. Whether it's false or not, too much shit has been coming out this whole year about the PS5. Way too much information. That's one. The other thing is, both Microsoft and Sony has demonstrated. I don't think so, Mr. Pyle. I think 2019 is the perfect time because I think Sony, if the rumors are true about this thing having 11 teraflops of power, I think they're going to price this thing at $500. The thing is going to need time to build momentum. So you don't wait, in my opinion, you don't wait for the PS4 to die down before you start the PS5. No, you get the PS5, you know, you make that shit hit the ground and running while the PS4 is still hot. To me, that's like running track. You know, that may not sound like it's making sense, but you got a person that's coming around the track with a baton. That's the PS4. He's getting ready to hand the baton off to the PS5. The PS5 do not, you know, he does not wait until the baton is in his hand to start running. They start running a few feet before the baton gets to him. The baton gets handed off, and then the PS5 takes off. It starts to build momentum at the same time that the PS4 is dying. One's going to go downhill, one's going to go uphill simultaneously. It's not going to be a case of, and see, that's where I think people I think that's where people's misunderstood. I think people's under this impression that Sony don't have to do shit until the PS5 starts to die down. You got the momentum now. Keep it going. Not to mention that Microsoft is going to be trying to break its back to try to get their shit out before you. I said it a trillion times. The race for 2019 is on. Mr. Pyle, you just said it right there. The 2013, those consoles released, the PS4 and the Xbox One released within like a week of each other, like 2 weeks of each other. You can't tell me that they wasn't fighting it out to try to see who was going to get out first. If both of those consoles came out in 2013 within a couple of weeks of each other, they was fighting it out to try to get out the blocks first. It happened with the 360 and the PS3. This is what I believe happened. Now, people got their opinions as to, why, it didn't happen. But 2005, the 360 released in November, I believe it released November 22nd of 2005. The PS3 was supposed to release like a week or two behind that, but it didn't. It released the next year. And I think that was a calculated move by Sony because their console cost $600 for the premium one, and the premium Xbox cost $400. And being that the Xbox came out 2 weeks earlier and $200 cheaper, which console do you think is going to sell more? So I think Sony waited until the next November when there was nothing else coming out and they could have that holiday crowd to themselves. And that's another reason why I believe this console was coming out in 2019. Traditionally, does it not seem like Christmas is huge? That Christmas rush. I think for new hardware, Christmas time is when it sells the most. And both Sony and Microsoft has demonstrated that they like to release their consoles in November of that year. So it builds up momentum going into Christmas. They want those consoles in the homes. So when somebody comes over and see that console, sitting underneath your TV and ask, what is that? Then they can start getting ready to try to get it for Christmas. I don't think that's changed. A lot of money gets spent on Christmas. Mod Razi, AMD 7nm Ryzen is already mature. Releasing PS5 sooner is better so devs can jump to the adopted new tech faster. Hey, I agree with that too. Abdil, cloud will be the end of gaming. Sony, you know what? Asher, Sony saved VR. VR would have died if Sony hadn't got involved. Sony can save gaming. Why do I say that? Is because if the PS5 has the same kind of success as the PS4, that will show Sony that they do not have to get on board with this cloud gaming shit. Why give up your number one spot so you can go jump in another field where you only going to be like the third or fourth or the fifth option? Let them dudes fight it out, and I'll stay here where I'm number one. I said it before, and I always use restaurants as an example. But I said it before, you got 15 restaurants. All of them sell burgers. Well, 13 of these restaurants decide they're not going to sell burgers anymore. They're going to flip and go and start selling like organic food or some shit like that. Now the two restaurants that's left by themselves that's still selling burgers, nobody going to go tell them that if you don't start selling organic food, and follow along with these other ones, you're not going to survive. No. Those two restaurants that's left by themselves to sell burgers had that whole market to themselves now, especially if you number one. Sony does not have to follow everybody else. Now I don't get that shit. How people think that Sony gotta follow them. They don't. You number one. You number one in traditional console sales. I mean, look at right now. Electric cars is out there right now, but nobody going to these automakers and saying if you don't make an electric car, you're not going to survive because electric cars is the future. Yeah, it's the future, but it's the distant future. Yeah, Robert McLeod, Sony's been number one since PS1. And until you get knocked off that number one spot, why should if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sony been number one. So why should they give up their number one spot and try to go fuck with this streaming shit? Andre 6K, what's up? Why should you do something like that and you number one? No, when somebody knocked me off that mountaintop, then I'll start thinking about, what other options I'm going to take. Microsoft ain't going down this cloud gaming route because it's the future. They going down that route because they desperate. They've been getting their goddamn asses whooped and they got to try something different. So, but back to those PS5 specs, like I said, that amount of power, 11 teraflops, I don't know if it's true. But I know that I seen the drawing for that patent where two PS5s were hooked into one base. And I assumed that base was a PS5. And I said it before. I would have to imagine that it's going to take a substantial amount of power in order to run two VR headsets with possible 4K resolution at 240 frames per second off of one console. It's going to take a substantial amount of power for that thing to run properly. And I don't have to be a computer geek to figure that out. Now, with that being said, do I believe these specs? I just don't know. But I do think that it might take around that amount of power for what not Microsoft, but for what Sony has planned for PlayStation VR. They said bigger and better experiences. Right now, we getting these tech demos and some of these really small, somewhat rinky-dink games on PlayStation VR. If Sony's idea of bigger and better experiences mean AAA games on a regular basis on PlayStation VR 2, you're going to need a lot more power. A game like Red Dead Redemption, the way that game looks in a huge open world like that, it's going to take more power than what we have right now in order for somebody to make that shit work. Because I think it just wouldn't work on the current hardware. But for the next generation, it could happen. Skip Bayless, you said you got Judge Eye coming out. You got Left Eye, you got Left Alive, Sucker Punch new game. You got Samurai Showdown, Last of Us 2, Shenmue 3, MLB 19, the show Dreams come out in 2019. See, shit, 2019 is jam-packed for Sony. Skip Bayless, you know what I'm saying? I said this before. I think everybody is under that impression that you don't put the PS5 out until the PS4 starts to die down. At first, I was hoping that Sony would launch the PS5 at $400, but now I've come to the realization that I think is probably going to launch at and see, that's the thing about it. It said no need for it. See, I think what Sony has planned is to get the hardcore people like me in 2019, and they expect this thing to pick up steam over the next couple of years. See, Sony don't do this overnight shit like Microsoft does. Everything with Microsoft has got to be overnight. You know, they spend, you know, $3 making a bullshit game and then expect the game to make $50 million in 10 minutes. Sony don't have that. Sony said it before. This is a marathon. Even when the PS5 came out, I understand that Sony told their shareholders to be prepared to take a loss for the first couple of years. If Microsoft does not release their Scarlet in 2019, this ain't a case of, oh, we don't need to. You getting your ass kicked. You need that shit out as soon as possible. As far as I'm concerned, even if you did just put out the Xbox One X, you trying to get somebody to get on board with something new that you getting ready to do. You trying to get everybody to get on board with this streaming shit. And Craig Harris was right about one thing. You know, Microsoft has a goal of reaching 2 billion gamers. And we already said they would have to capture the entire console gaming market, and they would have to have a huge impact on the mobile market for them to even have a chance of reaching 2 billion gamers. Now, you go back to the console part of this shit. This is where Craig was right. In order for Microsoft to make a dent in the console market, they need to get a hold of some of that PlayStation mind share. And in my opinion, part of doing that is to try to get your console out first, especially being that you're doing something totally different. If the PS5 gets out first, there's going to be some people to be like, no, I ain't even thinking about this damn streaming shit. I don't want no part of it. But if this streaming console comes out first and Microsoft only prices it at like, say, $150, there's going to be a couple of people that's going to buy it just out of curiosity. But these might be same people. These might be the same people who may not buy it if the PS5 is already out. Microsoft is not sitting around saying, oh, we don't need to do shit till 2020. They're getting their asses kicked. And the stage is set for them to get their ass kicked the next generation. And so in order for them to make an impact in the console market, it's like Craig said, they have to get a part of that PlayStation mindshare. They got to get a piece of that crowd. And in my opinion, we just got different beliefs on how they're going to try to do it. Craig thinks they're going to try to do it by trying to offer an Xbox app onto the PlayStation platform. I believe that they are going to try to get a hold of some of that PlayStation mindshare by trying to get their console out first at a very affordable price. Because I think they know if they introduce this console at $150, this streaming console, they already know that a lot of people who going to buy the PS5 still going to buy it, but some of them might still be willing to drop $150 just to have a look at it because it's $150 and it's out first. Abdil, what I think you said Sony is going to let Xbox go first. Because what can they come out with and say we got a 4K 60 frames per second system? Then that's what, then what's the Xbox One X? The Xbox One X can't do it, though. And as far as that goes, the Xbox One X, these Scarlet consoles, we already know there's going to be a streaming console. Not too much has been said about the traditional console. A lot of shit is coming out about the streaming console, but not too much shit is coming out about the traditional console. That tells me that, even Microsoft, even Phil Spencer said it himself, that, with the Xbox One X, it was lacking in performance. And that's was something that they were going to focus on for the next generation. That tells me that the traditional console is going to be nothing more than the Xbox One X with a better processor in it. You just dropped all that money. You probably dropped billions of dollars developing the Xbox One X. And now you're just going to abandon it and come out with a whole nother console? No, I think they're going to take all that same architecture, all the same assets, all the shit they did to develop the Xbox One X, and they're going to put a better processor in it. They're probably going to have slightly more power. But for the most part, I think the next iteration of Scarlet is basically going to be the Xbox One X 2.0. So with that being said, I do not believe that the next Scarlet console, the traditional one, that part I don't believe. I do not believe Microsoft is going to turn around and build a 12 teraflop console, knowing that they face an uphill battle when a lot of people already going to buy PlayStation 5s based off of customer loyalty, based off of customer satisfaction, based on the belief that Sony is going to keep its word that they are going to double down on first party games in PlayStation VR. That's an uphill battle. The Xbox One X sold like shit. I can't see them just saying, okay, put that one behind us. Let's go back to the drawing board. Now we're going to be able to build a 12 teraflop console. How much you going to charge for that? So let's say it's true that the PS5 is 11 teraflops. And let's say Microsoft is trying to build something that's 12 teraflops. If that turns out to be true, then both of these consoles would be damn near identical. So with that being said, it would be pivotal for somebody to get out the blocks first. If the traditional consoles is damn near the same, it is going to be pivotal for somebody to get out the blocks first, and it's probably going to be pivotal what their launch price is going to be. Even though Microsoft, this generation, even though Microsoft shot themselves in the foot with that DRM, it doesn't matter. They would have got their asses kicked anyway because the PS4 was $100 cheaper and it was more powerful. Microsoft would have got their asses kicked at the beginning of this generation anyway. So, all in all, again, I don't really know shit about computers like that. So about these rumors about the PS5 having 11 teraflops of power, I don't know if it's true or not. But I think if Sony does plan to implement local VR multiplayer where two VRs can be hooked up to one PlayStation, you're going to need a lot of power to push both of those. Because as it stands, you have the current PlayStation VR. You need the PlayStation Pro in order to get the best performance out of it, which I understand that was the reason that they secretly built the Pro. Not so much to give gamers 4K options, but to have something powerful enough to run the PlayStation VR smoothly, because I had heard in the beginning that it ran like absolute shit on the vanilla PS4. And even though you need a more powerful PS4 Pro in order to get the better experience on the PlayStation VR. So now with them having bigger and better experiences, better resolution, wireless, and all that shit, it is going to, and then you're going to connect two of those to the same console. I say at the beginning, you're going to need a substantial amount of power to make that shit happen. Hold on, folks. I got to refresh my page. There we go. I've been streaming for 74 minutes. It said I was streaming for 23 minutes. Rodzi, you said, what do you think Sony is able to make PS4 portable to rival the Switch? It might be possible. The question is does Sony want to go down that route again? Some people think the PS Vita was a flop. I don't think the thing sold like hotcakes, but I don't think it was a complete flop because the thing hung around for quite a few years. You said you think the Switch is going to replace the handheld. The next Nintendo is going to be on Sony's level, in my opinion. I think maybe in terms of how much content they can, bring their fan base, yeah. But in terms of how much power, I don't know, because Nintendo already made it clear. They said if they would have been trying to keep up with Microsoft and Sony in the power department, they would have been done. I think Nintendo's just gonna stay in their own lane. I think I think so not Sony, but I think Nintendo is okay with being the side chick. They know they in a, you know, they in a league all their own, you know what I mean? They're gonna do what they're gonna do. And I don't think, Sony or Microsoft's gonna have any impact on it. I think they kind of run in a totally different race. Um, you said the Vita launched with backwards compatibility to the original PSP. Hey, I didn't even, the Vita is my first handheld. I still have it. Paid $200 for it, and it came with Borderlands. I tried to sell it once because I wasn't playing it, and because for one thing, I was disappointed about the online part of it, because that part definitely flopped with the Vita. Because like games like MLB The Show, for instance, on one of the early iterations of the PlayStation Portables, you were able to play MLB The Show from a Vita, from a handheld, while somebody else was on their console playing against each other. And that thing performed like absolute shit because I seen it firsthand. And so Sony took that aspect out of it. So I think, with the Vita online, you could only, it seemed to work best when you were playing against another Vita online. So you could play PSP games on my Vita from PlayStation Store. Oh, that's pretty cool. Skip Bayless, he said it's going to be Sony versus Nintendo for 9th gen. To an extent, I think you might be right. I think those who got their mind made up, like me, I'm getting a PlayStation first. I don't have any intentions of getting any kind of Nintendo console, whatever it might be. I just don't. But I think there's going to be other people out there that's going to consider a lot of other things, when deciding. But I don't disagree with you, Skip Bayless. It very well could be Sony versus Nintendo next generation, because Microsoft is going a totally different route. And truth be told, the route that Microsoft is trying to take, they might be fighting an even tougher battle, getting in the ring with Google and Utopia already there and Steam already there. He says, Saris is great. It said you need an i5 and a GTX 970 RX 580 to do premium VR on PC. The PS5 and Xbox 4 will be more than able to handle Oculus and Vive level VR. If it's true, yes. And I didn't say that. I didn't want to say that Saris is great. But if these specs are true about the PS5, along with these patents that we've seen that Sony has for the PSVR2, and what it could be possibly be in the industry standards in terms of comfort and ergonomics, I wanted to say that the next generation, if these specs are true, we could be getting PC level virtual reality coming from the PS5. But the reason why I didn't stop saying that is because, the PC elitists and the PC master race and all that shit gonna jump up, start talking they shit, and act like, don't, how dare you say something is, on a level with a PC. You seen how they acted when people started, acting like they was comparing the Xbox One X to a PC. You seen how the PC people jumped up and, But Saris is great. Yes. You said right there what was in the back of my mind. Skip Bayless, what about Legend of Zelda, Lincoln? You get that? Yes, I did. I got it, but I didn't get it. I bought my son a Nintendo Switch about a month after they came out, and none of the other games were appealing. The Legend of Zelda was really the only appealing game. But I will say that, my son, when he played it quite a bit when it first came out. So wow, it's 7 o'clock already. So I don't think there's anything else that I can think of. With that being said, I'm going to get ready to wrap it up and go join sick for a little bit. Um, I don't know how long I'm going to stick around over there because I still got my chores to do at home. I still got to do laundry and cook and all that other shit, and then I still want to get some time to get some gaming in. So, but I'm gonna get ready to go wrap this up and go join Mr. TV, Sick Humor TV, that is. And for those of you that might have been bouncing back and forth, because I know my viewership is down right now. We got 15 watching, and thank you so much, everybody who stuck it out over here to watch this, because I know it's other shit going on. Titanfall, Princess, Sick Humor, Next Gen 720. I know those guys were live, but I definitely appreciate those of you who stuck it out over here with me on this little baby ass channel. I really appreciate it. You say the next Nintendo going to be something. Nintendo don't make slims in mid-level consoles. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with. Because Nintendo marches to the beat of their own drum. So we'll see. So you went to go get dinner and come back, Christopher Hart. Cool. I appreciate it, man. And again, I appreciate everybody else who stuck around and was checking me out. But like I said, I'm going to get ready to jump on over here and join Sick Humor. But I absolutely wanted to talk about this because if these rumors about the specs of the PS5 turns out to be true, I think that PS5 is going to be a monster. And I absolutely can't wait. And that's something else that I did forget to mention before I leave. I've talked about this before, but I hope that the current PlayStation VR, I hope they let you carry it over to the PS5, especially if the PSVR 2 is not ready to go side by side with the console. If they were to do that, something else that I would like to see is I would like to see Polyphony put out some kind of update, like when the PS5 comes out. If they don't have a GT game ready to go when the PS5 comes out, I hope they update the current GT Sport and allow, send an update through and allow, multiplayer races in VR on GT Sport. Because I'd imagine that, the current VR just doesn't have enough power for them to do what they want to do with it. But, next generation, whatever they had in mind, they'll be able to do it because they'll have enough power to work with. So I definitely hope that if the PlayStation VR 2 is not ready to go day and date with the console, I hope they at least let you carry over your current PSVR over to the PS5. That would be huge. I agree, Christopher Hart. PSVR and PSVR 2 should work on PS5, and that's what I'm hoping for. Because if they go that route, it's a win-win, because even if they don't sell the new headsets, the old ones will still be selling, because by then it'll be a permanent price of $200 or even less. So it'll be a win-win, especially if you make it compatible with the PS5. So that's a can't miss. So let's just hope. So, but like I said, let me jump on over to Sick. Like I said before, I got my chores I got to do, and not only that, I got to respond to Servios because they did get back with me. So I got to get back with them about the Creed game. So thanks everybody for watching. Give it a like. You know the drill. Lock the door on your way out. And I'm getting ready to close the Invisible Dome, and I want to thank everybody for visiting Wakanda. I will see you guys over on Sick Humors podcast. All right, y'all be easy.